Hello and thanks for watching another episode of ARFCOM News. Today I want to tell you about a new Texas law targeting anti-gun banks, why the Virginia Citizens Defense League is suing a gun control group for libel, and lots more. But before we get started, I want to introduce you to the light, crisp, refreshing taste of zero-calorie night vision from TNVC.com. If you like seeing stuff more than not seeing stuff, take a look at our sponsor, TNVC.com, your source for quality night vision gear to make you the bump in the night. Hey, how about some good news for a change? I'm sure y'all have heard about all you can take on Texas's new laws legalizing Texas-made silencers and permitless carry. If not, you can check out some of our earlier episodes, but one law which hasn't received nearly as much attention as it ought to is at least as important. It prohibits banks from underwriting municipal or state bonds if they cling to control-freak policies intended to shut out firearms-related businesses from payment processing or loans. Now, I know that sounds kind of boring, but this is really a big deal. Multiple large banks have adopted policies intended to persecute gun companies. Texas has taken a stand by shutting them out of these lucrative bond deals, and Texas is an enormous market. I mean, if you haven't heard about how big Texas is, I'm sure a Texan will be along shortly to explain it to you. So this law wouldn't just influence Texas, it can influence all of us. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words could cost you $500,000. The Virginia Citizens Defense League are absolute chads who have been fighting a difficult battle for years. And while their efforts likely are terrifying for the authoritarian control freaks in the Coalition to Stop Gun Violence, the VCDL can't, by any stretch of imagination, be considered to be a domestic terror group. Nevertheless, that's what the Coalition to Stop Gun Violence called the VCDL in a press release back in June. That hyperbole is gonna cost them because the VCDL filed a $450,000 libel suit against the CSGV. Now, I'm no lawyer because my parents were married, but this seems like a slam dunk. I mean, maybe they won't get the $500,000, but this is clearly libelous without question. As if to underscore their guilt, the CSGV scrubbed the statement from their website, but the evidence was already captured and archived because that's how things work. Before we move on, I want to encourage you each to donate a few quatlus to your state's Citizens Defense League. It's pretty hard to pick a favorite gun rights group, but the various state CDLs are easily on my short list. Chicago has some of the strictest gun laws in the country and, probably unrelated, a horrifying violent crime rate. But places like Chicago remain the target for control freak groups seeking to further limit access to firearms for the people who need them most. Now, if you think folks who work for authoritarian enthusiast groups like Ceasefire are the sort of folks who believe they should follow the rules too, you have an awful lot to learn about how the world works, my sweet summer child. 3 Chicago gun control workers were all arrested on gun charges in just 1 week. One of them is also charged with aggravated discharge of a firearm and aggravated unlawful use of a weapon for shooting at people, and another was recently released from prison after a 20-year sentence for attempted murder. Probably just a misunderstanding, I'm sure. Detective Brittany Hilton is suing Sig Sauer for $15 million after she was struck in the leg when her P320 unintentionally discharged. The P320 has had some troubles in the past and is the subject of a voluntary upgrade to the fire control group. Hilton's pistol had the upgraded fire control group. She claims the gun just went off for no reason though, and I'm having a real hard time believing her story because that's not how things work. Hilton says the gun was holstered in her purse, which on its own is a problematic statement. Does she mean it was in a proper holster and also inside her purse? Does she mean it was secured in a purpose-designed carry purse? Or does she just mean it was in a purse? Because if it is the latter, it becomes a lot easier to see how this could happen. Proper holsters, including carry purses, have stiff sides which make it impossible for a foreign object to manipulate the trigger in any way from the outside, and they secure the pistol in its place. But if the dividers are made of normal, flexible fabric, like in most purses, it's easy for keys or pens or chapstick or other objects to press on the trigger. Hilton also made this curious statement. I picked up my bag, my keys were on top. As I walked around my desk, my purse swings out and it shoots out the bottom of my bag. This statement smells funny for me too. The first thing that jumps out is the detail about the keys being on top. It's the kind of detail that seems out of place unless she is specifically trying to tell us that the keys were not in the bag. But even more striking is that she seems to be avoiding any kind of mention of an impact to the bag. See, if the gun did mechanically fail, I find it literally incredible that it would just fire on its own without anything disturbing it in any way. All the previous incidents with the 320 or any other gun which has had mechanical problems have always, at the very least, involved some sort of impact or pressure on parts, including the trigger. Don't get me wrong, if the purse banged into her desk and the gun discharged, then that certainly wouldn't be her fault, and of course it would indicate a defective mechanism. But the way she tells it, the gun fired for no reason whatsoever. Sig Sauer examined the pistol, and they advised they believe a foreign object entered the trigger guard. What do you think? Does the P320 still have problems even after the upgraded fire control group? Is Officer Hilton wrong? Did gremlins do it? Comment below. Industry news. H&K finally sending a little Kraut Space Magic love to civilian customers in the US. Kinda. They licensed a 22 LR copy of the MP5 for production by Umarex. The rifle version looks like an MP5 SD with the 16-inch barrel concealed within the fake integral silencer, while the pistol version looks more like a vanilla MP5 but without the stock. So if you want to cosplay as John McClane on a budget, this might just be the trick. Both models have an MSRP of $480. The boys got their hands on the new HK Deuces at the Primary Arms Range Day, which was supposed to precede the NRA annual meeting, and they seemed to enjoy themselves. Well, friends, that's all I have for you today, but before I go, I just want to ask you to take the time to check and see whether you're still subscribed to our channel. Our robot overlords in the tube of views know what we want better than we could possibly know for ourselves, so they just go ahead and unsubscribe viewers from any channels which express wrongthink, like this one. You folks know that censorship makes puppies cry, and Captain America is very disappointed, so don't forget to check every now and then just to be sure you're still subscribed to us. While you're at it, make sure you ring that notification bell so you never miss a word of our gun rights propaganda. And if you want to get email alerts for the best deals, the projects we're working on, and the hottest stuff you missed on the ARFCOM forums, you'll also find a Linktree link down there in the doobly-doo for our newsletter. And remember, if you want to help us keep bringing you banger content like this, please support the folks who support us. Not only does TNVC.com give you night vision with that cool, refreshing, never bitter taste that goes down smooth, they also have mounts and lights and all sorts of other gear to make you the bump in the night. I love you.